Paint. I like paint. I really like paint, and these are the new Citadel Paints. It's not all of them, as you can probably tell. If it was all of them, the bag would probably be full. But I pretty much picked up either the brightest colours or the most useful, or ones that I am running out of already. So just to let you know how much I love paint, that's all paint that I use. That is just workshop paint. That is Tamiya miniature paints, very, very old Games Workshop inks and some newer Games Workshop inks there. Foundations. The box back there is as deep as this, and that is full of old paints like this one. So I really, really like paints. I'm trying to think. I've also got surplus boxes in the drawers under my desk of paints, just in case I run out of ones that haven't been made anymore. In fact, where is it? Brown ink. A box of 6 full brown inks. Yeah, so I like paint a lot. There's a lot of different paints out there. There's a lot of companies. I tend to believe that not just one company is going to make the best paints in the world, but if one company is, I do really, really, really like the Games Workshop paints. They get the balance right. They flow nicely. You can buy them on any high street in the UK, generally speaking, especially in a city or a bigger town. You don't have to wait for them to be delivered. You get fantastic customer service every single time if you have a problem with your paint. If you have a problem with your paint, they'll sort you out with it. And if they don't, I'll give them a slap. So yeah, and it's all really good. I do use Wargames Foundry. I have had a few of their paints before, but I've only picked them up when they've been on sale. Wargames Foundry is just a little bit too expensive. The postage is extortionate, but they are gorgeous paints to work with. They've got a very nice flow. They work in triads, so you've got your darkest, you've got your mid-tone, your shade, and your highlight, which is very much kind of what Games Workshop have gone for now, but in a less pre-constructed way. So you can use these paints in a way that you feel comfortable, rather than Foundry, where you have to buy them in packs of 3 or 6 or 9 or whatever like. Okay. I also use coat d'arms sometimes. I have done. But mostly for me, yeah, it is Workshop, and that's pretty much it. And miniature paints, because again, miniature paints are cheap. I live very close to Birmingham, and there's a few shops in Birmingham that sell these as well. These are the older paints that Ralph Arthur sell. Okay, right, anyway, moving on. Those of you that haven't seen these before, every workshop store is giving out this pamphlet, which goes through what the new paints are for and what they do through our very much loved ultramarine with bolt gun. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kinds of paints shown here. We've got the base paints. The base paints do the same job as the old Games Workshop Foundation paints. However, the mix-up is very, very different from the old Games Workshop Foundation paints. My thumb is disgusting, all my nails are disgusting. I've been doing a lot of painting today. I assure you it's not filth, it's paint. Okay, so base paints, they do what the old Foundations did, except in a much better way, a cleaner way. They don't stodge up quite as much. They're not as desaturated in colour. So, for example, Mephiston Red is red, whereas Mecrite Red is a kind of desaturated grey red. There's the two compared to each other. Okay, so new paints are cool for that. Yes, the desaturated colours are quite nice. I still use Mecrite Red on my Space Wolves, but we'll see them in another video later on. Anyway, next up we've got the shades. The shades are essentially the same thing as the washes. They've got higher pigment though, and they don't pool up in the same way as the old washes did. They're even better than the old washes basically. Okay, you can water them down to get them the same, what am I trying to say? You can water them down so they're not quite as intense, so they represent the older washes a little bit better. But I'd recommend watering them down with the glaze medium. Okay. Next up, we've got the dry paints. These took me a long time to get used to. So I went into the Games Workshop stores and I have tried the new paints. The dry paints were the hardest thing for me to get used to, but now that I have, and now that I've watched the DVD that comes with How to Paint Citadel Miniatures, I'm quite liking them. There's something quite nice about them. I haven't picked up any myself yet, but I think very soon I'll probably be picking up most of them. Okay, because I don't like it when I'm painting and suddenly there's a colour I don't need and I don't have it. I don't like that weight. Okay. Next up, we've got layer paints. So these are like your normal Citadel colour paints. They're like the paints that everyone else sells. So like P3. In fact, I would probably say they are most similar to P3, the Privateer press paints, or Reaper Master series even. Okay. They've got a very nice texture to them. They're very smooth. They're very good for mixing. All the paints can be mixed as well. The dry paints are very thick, by the way, so they've got lots of pigment but not much binder, so you waste less paints. But the layer paints are just like your old Citadel colours, except, for example, imagine painting Scorched Brown and Desert Yellow over a black model. So two different black models, one with Scorched Brown on it and one with Desert Yellow on it. You can already probably imagine in your head which one's going to come out better. The Desert Yellow one, you're going to have to do several layers of it to get the same intensity. These new layer paints, each paint will cover in the same way. Okay. Anyway, next up we've got the glazes. So the glazes, they are different from the shades, the washes. Again, took me a little while to understand how, but now that I have kind of looked it up and made sure I know what I'm talking about, what the glazes do is they intensify the colour. That's my main word for today, is intensify. But yeah, they intensify the colour, they make it much stronger. You can blend your highlights together so they're a bit more subtle. And yeah, it's just quite nice. However, you shouldn't apply it too thick because supposedly it dries that thick. It doesn't shrink as it dries like the washes do, because glazes are, you know, paint and varnish mixed together. And you can also get your glaze medium, which is essentially clear paint. Okay, cool. So then last but not least, on this one we've got the texture paints. Now the texture paints, according to Workshop, are an alternative way of basing. I've tried one myself actually. This is one I did in the store, using the texture paints, so, and all the new paints. This is an ultramarine, and if you look, it was a green texture paint though, with a dry brush and a wash, using one of the shades. It's come out alright. It's not too bad. It's a very, very quick and easy alternative that I'm quite liking. So I've picked up a pot of the dark brown because it's very close to Scorched Brown, which is how I do my bases anyway. So if I'm in a rush, I can just stick that on, slap it on, see what happens. I'd also imagine it's very useful for scenery. My only wish is that Workshop sells it in bigger tubs, maybe for scenery people as well. Okay. And also, just to give you an idea of how big the range is, there's enough coloured dots there to look like one of Damien Hirst's paintings. Okay, so there's a lot of colours here, and as you can see we've got all the bases here, and we've got these are all layers on this page, and all these are on layers, so there's 70 odd layers. Then we've got some shades, so there's 4, 8, 12 shades there. So you've got like a yellow, orange, red, purple, kind of blue, dark green, mid green, camo green, like camouflage green there too, like olive, that's the word I was looking for, sepia, a flesh wash, Agrax Earthshade, which is the equivalent to the ever loved and missed Devlin Mud, but we'll have to see how that works out, and Nuln Oil, which is now one of my favourite washes. I use it quite a lot already, and I've only had these a day. The dry paints there are all the dry brush paints. There's 4, 8, 12, 15 of those actually, that's quite a lot. Wow. I don't think I'll get all these just yet, but I'll probably get some that I think will be useful. So like the browns, creams, maybe the pink, just because it's pink. And the skink blue there looks quite good, and the Hellion green. I'm not sure about the Kindle flame, it looks quite pinkish and desaturated, but we'll wait and see. We've got 4 glazes, only the 4, but you can always create your own glazes using the glaze mediums, I'd imagine, but I'd have to test that myself, I haven't tried it. And the texture paints, you've got a snow one, a dark mud, which is the one I've got, Stirland mud, black fire earth, which is a reddy brown, what's that one, Astro granite, which is grey, Armageddon dust, which is a yellowy brown, like ochre, and Lustrian undergrowth, which is a very, very deep green, so kind of like Dark Angel's green. And then you've got your 4 technicals, which is Lemire medium, which is your glaze medium, Ardcoat, which is your gloss varnish, Imperial primer, which is a paint on undercoat, so it's very good for kind of getting those bits and bobs that you've missed when you've tried to blast at it with a spray can, and liquid green stuff. Okay, so that is it, down to the new paints. We've also got, as I've discussed before, How to Paint Citadel Miniatures, the book and DVD. The new hobby starter set, which is very exciting. It's a great way to get a handful of paints and glues and clippers whilst you're at it. We've got the new Space Marine paint set, which rather interestingly has 5 Dark Angels on it, and the new High Elf one. There's also a new Lord of the Rings one. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to have a look and a play through these. If anyone does want a closer look at any of them, please do say, and I'll do some videos about that too, because I know Templars Crusade 01 was after a few videos with the new paints in it before he actually bites the bullet and grabs some himself. But as you can see, I definitely have bitten the bullet. I really, really do love paints. I'm massively excited about this. I mean, look at that green, isn't that awesome? Moot green. We've also got this one, Temple Guard blue. We've got Cyberite green, which is probably one of my favourite colours now. Cabalite green, I think this one is. I'm not sure. Where are you? Yeah, Cabalite green, that one is. Got rat skin, flesh. There's just so many fantastic, awesome colours that are so different. Calgar blue, which I've bought specifically to finish highlighting my bloody ultramarines, which really need it. Just so much awesomeness. I mean, there's some really cool colours here, like Elysian green, old green camo. I normally go for that kind of desaturated green colour for my orcs and goblins and my grots and space orcs and stuff like that anyway, so you'll probably see a lot of those colours, like Lauren Forest too, on my orcs. Okay, yeah, my texture paint, can't wait to try that. But cool, can you tell I'm really excited? I'm sure you're going to see loads and loads of videos from me soon using these, and cool stuff. So let me know about your experiences with these paints, tell me what you think, and please keep on commenting and subscribing. Hope that's been useful for any naysayers, and I will speak to you all soon. All the love, bye bye.